and I was literally just talking about this yesterday with my with one of my family members. Um, pay yourself first. Um, because I gave him um, the idea of who has more money, the guy who earns $1 million and spends $1 million, or the guy who earns $100,000 and saves $20,000. Who's better off? The guy who earns 100,000 and saves 20,000, because 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, the guy who saved that 20,000 a year is going to have a lot more money and a much bigger net worth than the person who actually earns a million, spends a million. Um, and that just comes from paying yourself first, knowing that I don't actually make, say, half a million. I only make, say, 350,000, right? Because the first 150,000 is going to top up all of your accounts and saving all the money and saving, for your kids and your future, and getting all your insurances in place. So you're living off 350. You want to live off 500? Well, I guess you have to figure out a way to make a bit more money and start making 600, 650, and then you can kind of increase your lifestyle if that's what you'd like to do. But you're always paying yourself first, and making sure you have the proper coverages in place is and what I found is it just lowers my financial stress and my financial anxiety. I actually, get zero financial stress or anxiety regarding my future, because I'm like, okay, well, as long as you keep waking up and doing what you love to do, like waking up at, super early on a Monday morning before your kids wake
I'm
up,
sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up at
you know,
early in the
to,
morning
to,
to do a
to do a
podcast.
podcast, But I'm up anyway, so like, it's fine for me. But that's what I mean. It's because I love doing what I'm doing. So it's not work for me, right? Um, and but if something were to happen and I can't go to work and I can't be out here in the morning, super nice and early, I'll still be okay because all the coverages are in place, and so it just I think it just helps you with that financial stress, so I can actually focus on what it is I'm doing and thoroughly enjoy it, which is what I'm sure that many physicians do. They enjoy their work, rather than, man, I have to see this patient because if I don't, then I have to make this much money and I'm going to build this over here. And, OHIP did something wrong over there with my billing, and, now I have to fix that. That's all coming from stress, knowing that I got a big mortgage to pay. I got a big bills, and the car bill still has to be paid, and all of these things have to be paid. But if you just paid yourself first, then you wouldn't actually feel all of this. And yeah, so now we're, essentially getting into like the psychology of money and what it does to us. But it is important. Try paying yourself first and just notice how confident you are in your future,
Yeah.
knowing that you've made some really good decisions about yourself and your family and your kids. And that does, like, snowball effect 3 months later, 6 months later, 10 months later. And all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, I forgot I have some money saved there. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I do have an emergency fund. Oh, I do have, um, my investments are actually doing pretty great. Everything's still the same. The markets are still going to do what they're doing, and everything is, like you notice how many things you can't control. But because you've paid yourself first and made that decision, um, I just think it's that financial stress goes down to pretty much zero, which is also one of the key indicators to divorce in this country. So,
That's right.
side note.
That's right.
If you found this clip valuable and you'd like to listen to the whole episode, then please go to Spotify or Apple or Google or wherever you like to listen to your podcasts and search for Your Rich Fulfilling Life Show for the whole episode.